What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today we're going to be talking about DLC possibilities for Gotham Knights. Now, I know this is something that you probably don't need to put too much emphasis on until the game is released, but there is a conversation that's going on right now. And this conversation is what I think is going to greatly affect future content for the game if that's the direction the developers decide to go. Now, first things first is all through this month of August, the developers revealed a whole bunch of stuff. We saw boss fights, skins, suits. We saw the whole world of Gotham. We saw skills. I mean, it was such a very interesting, open and transparent revelation of entire portions of the game. It really increased a lot of respect and confidence in the fact that the developers were showing what they had. Even in the face of criticisms, it didn't seem like they hid a lot from their community. The only thing I think that people probably aren't necessarily certain about is exactly how they're going to take on in-game transactions. I made a video about this, and it seems like there's a possibility that we're going to be getting in-game purchases down the road. Now, in regard to DLC, though, this is the conversation going on. Some people said that they revealed too much, while some people are saying, actually, the game is bigger than people imagine. That's why what they revealed, even though it might seem like the tip of the iceberg, or, for some, it seems like it's a lot. But that's also conjecture in a sense, because no one has actually sat down to play Gotham Knights. We don't know how long the game is going to be in terms of progression and so on and so forth. It could be that because of the game's progression, the way that you can actually share skill points, the game truly is that long. And the devs felt they don't want you to actually do it 4 times with all your knights if you want to make all your knights stronger. That could have been an indicator. And so depending on how big the game is, the DLC component could also be the aspect that they actually focus on in terms of, okay, if the game is going to run you, a number of hours and maybe leveling up 1 knight or 2 knights or 3 knights, they eventually start to add more content, more storylines for villains and for bosses. This is the way the Batman games have kind of thrived, by using these villain storylines and these villain missions and so on and so forth. And so this also brings forward the conversation of the possibility of, say, maybe more bosses. And for some reason, the bosses are so attractive in the Batman Rogues Gallery. I don't see any reason why, this is not going to be a priority for the development team, because it really does open, a lot of possibilities for bringing this to light. If you think about, say, the first time they showed this game, they showed Batgirl actually in the middle of a Mr. Freeze mission. So if you think about other possible villains in Gotham and the way they've built this world to be so big, they could eventually start taking some structures and taking some areas and opening them and unlocking them to be able to start to drive more and more mission premises and more plot lines and expansions that it can actually get super, bigger in a sense anyways. And I think this is the direction that DLC possibility will actually follow. But again, like I said, it really does depend on the size of the game, because if the game is actually bigger than we think, then we're going to, be in a position where we're spending more time just playing the base game and, doing all kinds of activities co-op. But again, that's another third layer of why this DLC possibility is a thing, because of the co-op mode. Initially, when the developers were hiring for their community director, they actually marketed that position to be something of a situation where this community manager would be in a position relating with the community and keeping people excited to try to log in every day. So I don't know if you've actually seen that job description, because it's no longer there because the community manager got hired, but I made a video about it a very long time ago, and I can't even seem to find the video. I have hundreds and hundreds of Gotham Knights videos. But this was a very interesting proposition, because it spoke to the possibility that, DLC or expansion content will probably be a major part of this game if they're going to be continuing it. And I think this DLC and expansion thing might be a position where they want to sell, the content, because in-game purchases might not necessarily be something that they prioritize initially in the beginning of the game. But as DLC starts to come out, as fans start to pay attention and accept the way the game has been presented, then I think that opens the door for that conversation. But I would love to see DLC content and expansions in Gotham Knights, and I would love for them to feature new bosses, new areas that they will basically, transform within the map. They don't have to necessarily add new areas to the map. But if they want to, they definitely should, because the current gen consoles are what they're using, and so memory and performance should not necessarily be an issue if they actually optimize the game very well. And to add icing on top of things, why not feature some other allies that we can play with that are friends of the family? I think this would be an interesting proposition. Renee Montoya is already an ally. If we think about, say, possibly Catwoman, we think about possibly Poison Ivy as a boss, maybe even an ally. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think Warner Brothers Montreal has so much to be able to continue to just run in terms of developing and expanding this game and making it appeal to a far and wide audience in the DC Comics games. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about possible expansion, ideas? Do you think this is the route they should take? Or do you think that there's a better way for them to be able to put this content in front of audiences? Talk to me, and hopefully we'll talk in another video. Peace out.